Barakatah Yahweh, Barakatah Yahawashi, Bahasham, Rakahak Wadash, Barakatum. First and foremost, I want to give all praises, glory, and infinite honors to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahawashi. Double honors to the apostles and elders, a great millstone who rule and teach well. In peace and salutations to you sincere Akim out there, pushing this word in truth and sincerity to the four corners of the globe. May you brothers endure unto the end. This is the Brother Ra'aya with another video, and in this video I'll be profiling an article on endoftheamericandream.com titled, "Can you guess what it costs to live the American dream after 3 years of inflation under Joe Biden?" And hey, for the average American out here, it's no longer the American dream, but the American nightmare, as we're going to see in this article. And that image of that Edomite, your so-called white family up there, looks like it's AI generated. Hey, that's the only place you're going to see a happy, American dream style family anymore, because we are living at the end of the reign of the biblical Edomite from their stronghold, Babylon the Great, which is the biblical name for the United States of America. From here on out, expect inflation to go up, which we're going to reach hyperinflation, food shortages, more pestilences, civil unrest, a state of martial law, anarchy, chaos, death, and ultimately nuclear missiles hitting this place. And it's all a part of biblical prophecy. And Apostle Tahar has deemed 2024 to be the hopeful year of Jacob's trouble, and since this year kicked off, it's been action-packed. But if you are like most Americans, the cost of living has been going up much faster than your income has been. Hey, after all these, stimulus packages getting sent to Ukraine and the state of Israel, and funding all these migrants coming into the country. Hey, the elites are ready to foreclose and liquidate Babylon the Great. Right now, millions of Americans that were once prospering are now deeply struggling. When I was growing up, most of the population could afford to live the American dream. But now that is no longer true. At this point, the basics of a middle-class lifestyle are out of reach for most Americans. Poverty and homelessness are steadily rising, and the economy has become the number one issue during this election cycle. Most of us just want things to go back to the way that they once were, but thanks to the very foolish decisions of our leaders, that simply is not possible. And it's not possible, and we don't need these economic forecasts to tell us so. If the spirit of Yahweh Bahasham Yahawashi is dealing with you, you can see that Babylon, doesn't have much longer, according to the scriptures, and things will never go back to normal. There will be no Make America Great Again. But the first precept we're going to go to is Jeremiah chapter 51. I'm going to read verses 6-9. "Flee out of the midst of Babylon and deliver every man his soul," which is exactly what the elect of the nation of Israel are doing right now. The nation of Israel consisting of you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, as well as the Israelite foreigners who look like these heathen nations. The 1/3 of the elect in the United States of America are fleeing from this place spiritually. We don't have our hopes and our dreams in this place anymore. We don't have no 5 or 10-year plan. Our plan is to rely on Yahweh Bahasham Yahawashi to get us through these calamities of Jacob's trouble, which are coming to this place, and then for us to, ultimately get beamed up onto the chariots when Yahawashi, the Son of the Most High, whom the world ignorantly refers to as so-called Jesus, makes a second coming. "Be not cut off in her iniquity, for this is the time of Yahweh's vengeance. He will render unto her a recompense." We're living in the time of Yahweh Bahasham Yahawashi's judgment on America for all the wickedness this country has been committing. Verse 7, "Babylon hath been a golden cup in Yahweh's hand." Hey, this used to be known as the land of opportunity, the place whose streets were paved with gold, though now, it's paved with pockmarks and used up drug needles and shit and rats that made all the earth drunken. The nations have drunken of her wine, therefore the nations are mad. And that wine is talking about these different philosophies that America has pushed onto the world. Democracy, feminism, capitalism, and that alphabet agenda, beginning with LG. These different nations that have taken on, different of those philosophies, hey, they see that it's not conducive to living, a so-called normal life or having a running society. It only leads to broken families, women being whores, children being moes, or the sons being moes or the daughters being whores out here. Just nobody trusting each other, and it's just madness, which we can clearly see with the average American. Everybody's on edge. More and more people are becoming broke. Nobody trusts each other. Verse 8, Babylon is suddenly fallen and destroyed. In 1 hour shall her destruction be, as it says in Revelation 18, when she gets hit by those 200 million nuclear missiles that are going to turn her into the biblical lake of fire from sea to shining sea, and then a desolate, uninhabitable wasteland afterwards. But here's the main points I wanted to get to. How for her? Take balm for her pain? If so, she may be healed. We would have healed Babylon, but she is not healed. And what did Michael Schneider just say? Most of us want things to go back to the way they once were, but thanks to the very foolish decisions of our leaders, that simply is not possible. We would have healed Babylon, but she will not be healed, because we're living in the time of Yahweh's recompense on this place. And let us go everyone into his own country, which, as the situation deteriorates more and more out here, and it just becomes too expensive to run a business or just live, you're going to see a lot of these people that came to America from these different countries leave this place and go back to their countries. But for you Americans out here that got nowhere else to go, you're going to have to stay in this meat grinder and get grinded up. For the judgment reacheth unto heaven and is lifted up even to the skies. Yahweh Bahashem Yahweh Shai, is ready to take this place down because her wickedness has reached, it's just about reached its zenith to where it can't go any farther. And then the only place it can go from there is go down. And another thing Michael Schneider said is that, but thanks to the very foolish decisions of our leaders, that simply is not possible. And that's another part of biblical prophecy, that, these politicians, the president, whoever that so-called run this country are making horrible decisions, just further, speeding up its collapse. This is Isaiah chapter 19. I'm going to start at verse 11. And besides being known as Babylon the Great in the scriptures, the United States of America is also known as spiritual Sodom and Egypt, as pursuant to Revelation 11 verse 8, which is very easy to see why this place is known as spiritual Egypt. Just look at the back of your $1 bill with that pyramid with the all-seeing eye, the Washington Monument, which is an obelisk, and also this place is serving in the exact same function that ancient Egypt served for the children of Israel, a place of hardcore bondage and slavery. Surely the princes of Zoan are fools. The council of the wise counselors of Pharaoh, and your modern day Pharaoh would be what? The president, is become brutish. How say ye unto Pharaoh, I am the son of the wise, the son of ancient kings? Where are they? Where are thy wise men? And let them tell thee now, and let them know what Yahweh of hosts hath purposed upon Egypt. The princes of Zoan are become fools. The princes of Naph are deceived. They have also seduced Egypt, even they that are the stay of the tribes thereof. So the Most High is saying, the leadership of spiritual Egypt, America, has become foolish at all levels, which we can clearly see. Again, here we are in a state of inflation, but yet they're sending, billions of dollars over to fight that war in Ukraine, or, for those 1948ers over in the state of Israel. And here you have Americans, the homeless working. They have jobs, but they can't even afford to, pay rent to get an apartment, God forbid a house, out here struggling. But they're letting in all these migrants, not just from Central and South America, but from Russia, China, Iran, and other enemies of the United States into this country, and, paying for their hotels, giving them debit cards with thousands of dollars on it. And I was reading an article the other day where they're saying, we're constantly having cyber attacks by Russia and China, which, a lot of that is the government doing these attacks because, hey, that's another aspect the elites are going to bring about, cyber attacks to disrupt, the infrastructure of this society to further get these people desperate out here. But they were saying, they're constantly having cyber attacks from Russia and China, which best believe those countries are doing their thing as well. But in that article I was reading, they were saying a lot of our software and infrastructure is made in Russia and China. So how foolish is that? You're throwing sanctions on these countries and doing proxy wars against these countries, but your infrastructure is built up by technology from these countries. Verse 14, Yahweh hath mingled a perverse spirit in the midst thereof, and they have caused Egypt to err in every work, as a drunken man staggereth in his vomit. Neither shall there be any work for Egypt, which the head or tail, branch or rush may do. And you've got more and more companies out here laying off more and more people, and they expect a lot of layoffs this summer. That's another thing the average American has to worry about. These jobs they're living off of paycheck to paycheck. They don't know whether they're going to have it, tomorrow, next week, next month, or within the year. This place is collapsing on every level, and there's nothing that can be done to heal Babylon. According to a brand new report that was just released, it now takes over $100,000 a year for the typical family to live the American dream in all 50 states. And in 29 of those states, it actually takes over $150,000 a year. A household would have to spend more than $150,000 a year to live the dream in 29 of the 50 states, according to an analysis published in April by the personal finance site Go Banking Rates. According to the report, the optimal American lifestyle would cost $137,842 a year in Ohio, $147,000, $535 in Texas, $159,932 in Florida, $194,067 in New York, which a lot of people are fleeing New York because it's becoming like a escape from New York up there, and $245,723 in California. The same thing with California. A lot of people that can leave are leaving. I had no idea that the cost of living the American dream, in quotes, had gotten that high. Illinois was ranked 26th on that list, and so it provides a pretty good snapshot of what the average U.S. household is facing right now. Here's a list of things. Median home price, $255,000, $278. Annual child care costs, for one child, $24,174. Annual mortgage costs, $21,401. Car costs, $8,709. And even the price for used cars are becoming unaffordable for a lot of people out here. Hey, the $8,000 is becoming the average price for a used car. So if that's for car costs, hey, a lot of people are going to have to look forward to using public transportation. Grocery costs, $8,143. Healthcare costs, $7,021. And I was watching a economic video yesterday by Lena Petrova, which she's documenting, the collapse of the American economy. And she said that for a lot of Americans out here, they're having to decide, okay, do I pay rent? Do I continue paying my mortgage? Or do I, pay for food? Oh, I have medical costs. I'm going to go without, going to the hospital. I'm going to just have to suck it up just so I can buy food, just so I can pay rent. People are having to make critical decisions out here. Utilities costs, $5,278. Education costs, $2,475. Pet costs, $1,170. Total annual costs, $78,200. $369. Full cost of the American dream, $156,000, $739. Did your household bring in at least $150,000 last year? If not, living the American dream would not be possible for you in most states. And you see these rising costs. Hey, that's another part of biblical prophecy. This is Revelation chapter 6, verse 5. And this is dealing with the so-called four horsemen of the apocalypse, which are just symbolic for different conditions that would be taking place during the last days. And when he had opened the third seal, I heard the third beast say, "Come and see." And I beheld, and lo, a black horse, and he that sat on him had a pair of balances in his hand. Verse 6. And I heard a voice in the midst of the four beasts say, "A measure of wheat for a penny, and 3 measures of barley for a penny, and see thou hurt not the oil and the wine." And we're going to go to that word penny in the Strong's, which is G1220, denarion. And in the outline of biblical usage, it says denarius, containing 10, a Roman silver coin in New Testament times. So think about it as the average dollar today. It took its name from it being equal to 10 asses, which a ass was a bronze coin back during the Roman times, which later they debased it and made it out of copper. Hey, just like how the U.S. dollar is being debased right now, and 10 of those equaled 1 denarion. A number after 217 BC increased to 16, about 3.898 grams or 0.1375 ounces. It was the principal silver coin of the Roman Empire. The United States of America is also modern-day Rome, which more and more people are waking up to the parallels to the collapse of Rome and how much they mirror the collapse of the United States of America. From the parable of the laborers in the vineyard, it would seem that a denarius was then the ordinary pay for a day's wages, and in the ancient world, and especially according to the law in the scriptures, a man was paid the very same day he worked. It's not like this wicked society where, a lot of people get paid every 2 weeks, if that. So what is this verse saying? A measure of wheat for a penny and 3 measures of barley for a penny, just to buy your groceries. We're coming into the times to where it's going to take damn near your whole paycheck to do so. And that on top of car costs, rent costs, mortgages, health costs, etc., etc. The United States of America is quickly becoming unaffordable for the average American. Again, that American dream is becoming an American nightmare. And we will see hyperinflation. If you think right now's bad, hey, you just wait. Needless to say, the vast majority of U.S. households are not bringing in that kind of income. Last December, Investopedia issued a report that concluded that it now takes $3.4 million to live the American dream for an entire lifetime. Another report released in December by the financial media site Investopedia estimates what the American dream costs across an entire lifetime, $3.4 million. This is a staggering sum, Investopedia observes, considering what the average American earns in a lifetime, about $2.3 million. Housing costs are the number one reason why the American dream is now out of reach for most of the U.S. population. During the pestilence of 2019 to 2021, home prices shot up at an absolutely frightening pace. The median sale price for an existing home rose more than 40% between early 2020 and mid-2022, topping out at a seasonal peak just over $400,000, according to the National Association of Realtors. Meanwhile, mortgage rates have risen to very painful levels. The average rate on a 30-year fixed mortgage was sitting at just over 3% at the beginning of 2022. Today, it is sitting at more than 7.2%. Mortgage rates climbed again this week, exacerbating the home affordability crisis that is stifling the housing market. Freddie Mac's latest primary mortgage market survey, released Thursday, showed that the average rate on the benchmark 30-year fixed mortgage jumped to 7.22% this week from 7.17% last week. The average rate on a 30-year loan was 6.39% a year ago. The monthly payment on a 30-year fixed mortgage at 7.2% for a $400,000 home would be $2,715 a month. Who can afford that? Some people can, but most of the population can't. And for a lot of single bedroom apartments out here, the rent is around $2,000. That helps to explain why the percentage of renters that believe that they will someday be able to afford to purchase a home has dropped to an all-time low. The dream of home ownership has gotten even further away for renters, with higher housing costs and elevated interest rates standing in the way of the American housing dream, according to a New York Federal Reserve survey released Monday. The share of renters as of February who possess hopes of residential mobility, or the belief from renters that they one day will be able to afford a home, fell at a record low 13.4% in the central bank's annual housing survey for 2024. That's down from 15% in 2023 and well off the 20.8% series high back in 2014. If they work hard and do the right things, most Americans just want to be able to provide a nice life for themselves and their families. But during the Biden years, that has become increasingly difficult to do so. That's it with this article. Hey, but as you can see, Babylon is not being healed. We are living in the time of Yahweh Bahashem Yahushai's vengeance on this place. And it's only going to get worse from here on out. The only place you're going to see the American dream is in AI-generated images like this. But now I'm going to close it out in Isaiah chapter 24, verses 7 to 11. The new wine mourneth, the vine languisheth, all the merry-hearted do sigh. And, for the majority of people out here, they're sighing, living paycheck to paycheck, not knowing if they're going to be able to afford rent, gas and food, a car note all at the same time, having to default on certain things. The mirth of tabrets ceaseth, the noise of them that rejoice endeth, the joy of the harp ceaseth. And with this past, Thanksgiving, Halloween, Christmas, New Year's, and Mardi Gras, you've been having a lot of people, take to social media and say, look, this has got to be the worst, Christmas or Thanksgiving in the history of Christmases or Thanksgiving. That joyful, mirthful spirit is just not out here anymore because Yahweh Bahashem Yahushai is dismantling this place and people don't have the money to afford to be in that mirthful spirit. People see no hope for the future. They shall not drink wine with a song. Strong drink shall be bitter to them that drink it. Instead of drinking because you just got a job promotion or you're celebrating good times, people are drinking and taking drugs to drown out the misery they're living in. You can find polls out there to show that with each successive year, the uptick in drug and alcohol abuse, suicidal thoughts, and even suicides in the United States of America is rising. The city of confusion is broken down, and Babylon in the Hebrew, Babel, means confusion, confusion by mixing. So the city of confusion, Babylon the Great, the United States of America is broken down, which we can clearly see from the infrastructure, the economy, the military, to the morality of these people. Every house is shut up that no man may come in. A lot of these businesses going out and shutting up shop, which we saw a lot of middle-class mom-and-pop shops close during, the C19 of 2020 to 2022. And if another situation like that happens, whether from another pestilence, cyber attacks, an economic collapse, anything, that's going to be the final nail in the coffin for, the middle class. Verse 11, there is a crying for wine in the streets, a crying for answers. What's going to happen next? What can we do to bring America back? Well, hey, the only answers you're going to find are from the men of the Lord, chiefly from GMS or Great Millstone, or the brothers that come in the spirit of GMS, who are breaking down these scriptures in 144% truth and clarity and linking them up with, current events. And the only answer we're giving you is that Babylon will not be healed. This is the time of Yahweh Bahashem Yahushai's vengeance on this place. All joy is darkened. The mirth of the land is gone. Point blank, period. So that's it with this video. With this video, I hope you sincere Akim and Akwath were edified. Just keep strong. We are clearly almost out of this final wicked captivity of the heathen nations, chiefly of the Edomites, primarily from the United States of America, Babylon the Great. And as always, I'm going to say Abad Babal, Kwam Yasharallah, and until next time, Shalom.